Hi, I'm Bree with the Building for Kids, and today I'm going to share with you how to make watercolors out of dried markers. That's right, if you have dried markers, don't throw them away. We have another use for them today. So to start, we are going to need to gather some materials. So we are going to need dried markers. We're also going to need containers to put the watercolors in, some water, and then we'll want paper and a paintbrush to test out our colors too. So we're going to start by gathering what markers we want to use. So we're going to want to put at least 3 colors together. So if you have lots of dried markers, like we do here at the museum, you could put at least 3 blue ones together. But maybe you don't have a lot, so that's okay. But then you can group them by cool or warm colors. And so then when they all go together, they'll still make a pretty color. So if we were doing that, and let's say we have a blue, a purple, a pink, and a teal, we could put all 4 of these colors together and we'll still get a pretty watercolor shade. Or we could do red, orange, and yellow, and that will make a cool color too. But since we have lots of different colors today, I think that we're going to do some red, orange, and yellow. So I have my markers that we're going to use. Now we're going to fill up the containers that we are going to use for our watercolors with water. So to make the watercolors out of markers, it's really cool because all you need is water and your dried markers. And that's it. So we're going to make sure that those cups are filled with water. So depending on how bright you would like your colors to be, that's going to depend on how many markers or how much water you want to use. So if you really like your pastel colors, you're going to want to use more water and less markers. However, if you're like me and like super bright, vivid colors, then you're going to use a smaller amount of water and more markers. When I make my colors, I like to use like at least 6 markers. I like super bright. So now that we have our water, we are going to take off our caps of our markers. So we're going to have them like this. Now there are 2 ways to do this, a messy way and a non-messy way. I'm going to show you the non-messy way first. So the first step is you just take the caps off, have your markers like this where the marker end is down. Just going to set them in the water. And then you're just going to let it sit. So I'm just going to let that one sit. Now, the other way to do it is you take the cap off and you can actually remove the felt marker tip like this. And then you can plop that in your container. Sometimes when you do that, it'll give you a brighter color, or you won't have to let it sit for quite as long. Or if you don't have multiple shades, multiple dead markers of one color, you can use this method too, and that will give you a stronger color. So I am going to pull out 4 felt tips and just stick them in my water. And we are going to let that sit too. So you can do it both ways. You can either just have your markers face first in there, or you can have the ink blots resting in there too and soaking. So now we wait. The longer you wait, the brighter your color is going to be, just like how we decided how many markers or how much water we're going to use. We're also going to do that with how much time we should let our markers sit. So you're going to want to let it sit for at least like 5 minutes in order to get a strong color. But if you want a super bright or super dark color, you could even let it sit like overnight, and then you'll get a super vivid shade as well. These were some colors that I made a couple weeks ago, and I let these sit for a couple hours with the markers in. So thought maybe we could test these out quick. So this is a purple. Oh wow. Look at how bright that purple is. And that's just using the dried markers with water. Next I did a teal. The teal is what I used, I took out the felt tips for this one. Ooh, this one's pretty. I like that shade. And then we have a nice dark blue. Let's see this one. Ooh, I like that. Check out those colors. That's amazing. That's just from using dried markers in water. Who knew they had another use? So even though our ones here have just been sitting out for a little bit, I thought we could still test it out and see how it works, only letting them sit for a couple minutes. So let's try the red. I'm guessing that the red is going to look more like a pink because it hasn't been sitting for too long. Ooh, that looks cool. It looks like fruit punch. Ooh, that's a pretty color. It's a nice light red. It is a little pink. Oh, how pretty. All right, let's test the orange. See how this one works. Ooh, well, you can tell that it's orange, that's for sure. And the longer you let it sit, the more bright it's going to be. I hope you learned something new and you had lots of fun making your own watercolors. Have a wonderful day.